The cheapest car you can buy in America right now costs $17,000. It has a 5-star federal crash rating, automatic emergency braking that can detect a pedestrian walking in front of you at night, lane departure warning, 8 airbags, and a touchscreen that connects to your phone. Most Americans would never even consider it. They would call it too slow, too small, too basic. And that car, the Nissan Versa, would be the most technologically advanced automobile on the road in Iran by a wide margin. Iran builds cars, a lot of them. More than 1.3 million vehicles rolled off Iranian assembly lines last year, making Iran the 13th largest automaker on the planet. They produce more cars than Italy and more than the United Kingdom. And yet the average American has never seen a single one of them, because Iranian cars exist in a parallel universe where automotive technology froze somewhere around 2004 and never thawed. 2 companies control over 90% of everything Iran builds: Iran Khodro and SAIPA. Between them, they produce a lineup of sedans, hatchbacks, and pickups that would look right at home in a 1990s European parking lot, because that is exactly where the designs came from. Iran Khodro's flagship sedan, the Dena Plus Turbo, is the best car Iran makes right now. It earned 5 stars on Iran's own domestic quality scale, and it has a turbocharged 1.7-liter 4-cylinder engine putting out 150 horsepower. That sounds respectable on paper until you realize the platform underneath it started life as a Peugeot 405, a car the French designed in 1987 and stopped building in Europe by 1997. Iran took that platform, stretched it, restyled it a few times, dropped in their own national engine called the EF7, and called it Progress. The Samand, Iran's attempt at a modern national car that replaced the Paykan in 2002, was itself still based on this same aging Peugeot 405 platform. The Dena comes with 2 airbags, ABS brakes, and meets Euro 4 emission standards. Euro 4 was introduced in Europe in 2005. The continent is now on Euro 7. Compare that to the Nissan Versa sitting on a dealer lot in Ohio right now for $18,000. That Versa has forward and reverse automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection, a system that will slam the brakes for you if it senses a human being in your path. The Dena does not have that. The Versa has lane departure warning that nudges you back into your lane if you drift. The Dena does not have that. The Versa has 8 airbags surrounding the cabin from every angle. The Dena has 2. The Versa earned a 5-star rating from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and a good rating from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, 2 of the most rigorous crash testing organizations on the planet. Iranian vehicles have never been evaluated by global NCAP or other international safety authorities. Based on the platform's age and structural design, engineers familiar with Iranian vehicles say the Dena would struggle badly in modern crash tests. And here's what makes this comparison so brutal. The Versa is a car that American automotive journalists openly describe as too slow, too basic, and likely to be discontinued because nobody wants it. Nissan axed it after 2025. It was considered the absolute bottom of what America would accept. That rejected American baseline is still leagues ahead of the best Iran can offer its 88 million people. But the Dena isn't even the strangest part of the story. That title belongs to the Paykan, Iran's actual national car. The Paykan was a licensed copy of the 1966 British Hillman Hunter, a sedan designed by the Roots Group in Coventry, England, later absorbed by Chrysler. Iran Khodro started assembling it from imported kits in 1967, and it became the car that put Iran on wheels. Taxi fleets ran on Paykans. Families took road trips in Paykans. The orange and black Paykan taxi became as synonymous with Tehran as the yellow cab is with New York City. And Iran kept building the Paykan for 38 years. When they finally stopped in 2005, the order backlog was still 2 years long. People were lining up to buy a car based on a design from 1966 because nothing better was available at a price they could afford. The Iranian government had to offer Iran Khodro a cash incentive to shut the production line down, labeling the Paykan an environmental hazard because of its fuel consumption. They even sold the production line to Sudan afterward. SAIPA, the other major Iranian automaker, built the Pride for decades. That car was based on the first-generation Kia Pride, itself a rebadged 1987 Ford Festiva. SAIPA's version became one of the cheapest cars in Iran and one of the most dangerous. It never earned more than 1 star on Iran's own quality ranking, and the government eventually forced some versions off the market because of serious safety failures. Imagine a car so poorly built that the country making it, a country with some of the lowest automotive standards in the world, still decided it was too unsafe to sell. This gap between American and Iranian cars did not happen by accident. It happened because of sanctions. When the United States reimposed sanctions on Iran's automotive sector in 2018, every major international partner walked away. Peugeot left, Renault left, Mercedes-Benz left, even Chinese automakers scaled back. Iran Khodro and SAIPA were cut off from the foreign technology and parts they depended on to modernize. Car production in Iran dropped by 40% between 2011 and 2013 during earlier sanctions. It recovered when the 2015 Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, temporarily eased restrictions and then cratered again after 2018. The companies that make 90% of Iran's cars have extensive ties to Iran's defense ministry. SAIPA signed a deal with the Ministry of Defense in 2019 to co-produce car parts. Iran's Air Force commander, Brigadier General Aziz Nasirzadeh, announced that SAIPA would help build military drones. These connections made international sanctions inevitable and foreign partnerships impossible. Without access to modern engineering, Iranian automakers turned to China. Brands like Chery, Brilliance, Haima, and Changan entered Iran's market mostly through barter trade, swapping vehicles and auto parts for copper and zinc to skirt American restrictions. These Chinese models filled the middle tier of Iran's car market, sitting above domestic sedans but below the rare imported vehicles. A shop owner in Tehran's Grand Bazaar compared them to fake Rolex watches, flashy but unreliable. And even those partnerships are under threat now. Several Chinese automakers recently told their Iranian partners to lay off 30% of their production staff and to suspend sales as fresh sanctions tighten the supply chain further. The result is a country where more than half the vehicles on the road are over 10 years old. A country that produced 1.2 million gasoline-powered vehicles last year, without a single hybrid or electric model among them. A country where the government promised to import 300,000 fuel-efficient cars and delivered only 15,000 over 2 years. Iran has 16 million cars on its roads, burning 110 million liters of gasoline every single day, most of them built on platforms designed before the internet existed. Meanwhile, the car Americans considered their worst, the Nissan Versa, offered automatic emergency braking, pedestrian detection, a touchscreen with Apple CarPlay, 35 miles per gallon, and a 5-star crash rating, all for under $18,000. It was such a good value that when Nissan discontinued it, automotive journalists called it the end of affordable cars in America. That car, the one Americans mourned losing because nothing else was cheap enough to replace it, would be the most advanced vehicle in a country of 88 million people. Iran is the 13th largest car producer on Earth. America is the second. And the gap between the bottom of one market and the top of the other tells you everything about what happens when an industry gets cut off from the rest of the world for decades. Sanctions did not just freeze Iran's nuclear program, they froze the cars too.